sense of pulling the car. So if you think about Porsche, it has like an electronic differential that sends the power to whatever wheel needs it. You can tell that it switches the power to the front. When a generation of 911s are built out, there's 16 available 911s, 3 different engines, not counting the GT cars or turbos or specialty cars, but 16 different 911s that you can opt to start configuring. 8 two-wheel drive and 8 four-wheel drive versions. So how do you determine what's going to be best for you? Two-wheel drive versus four-wheel drive. I'm going to drive one of each to see if I could tell the difference. Both of these 911 Carrera Cabriolets are available. We have an S and a 4S. They're both for sale at Porsche Irvine, and they're a good one to compare because they have a lot of different options on each car that we can go over to see what things that you would like to opt in for your 911 Carrera if you build one on the configurator. At the end of the video, I'll go ahead and talk about the price and what they're going for and how AutoNation works its pricing on these 911s. They're both the same horsepower. The only difference is that the S has power steering plus. So I'm going to pay attention to that. As I have to negotiate my way out of the jewel box here at the store to see and notice what difference that power steering plus makes, because it's supposed to like make it easier when you're turning in parking lots and tight areas. It like increases the amount of assistance it gives on the steering wheel. So I'm going to notice that as I take these two out for a trip around the block. First, the Carrera S. Again with power steering plus. I don't notice anything out of the unusual as far as it being super easy to steer. It seems normal. Steering seems normal, nothing that I would notice out of the ordinary, like this is super light or super easy to steer. It just seems normal. All right, are you going out or coming in or? I noticed that this Carrera S does not have the Sport GT steering wheel, and once you've felt a lot of them, you'd notice the difference. The steering wheel diameter is a little narrower, and also the little thumb grabs right here above these two spokes are not as pronounced. Stick it manual, stick it sport. Initial impressions on, I mean, I'm not flooring it, but I'm hitting it hard, like shifting at 5,000 RPM. I don't notice anything like tail happy or anything like that. Porsche, over its development of the windshield wiper, or windshield's a little dirty. Over the development of the of the 911 being a rear engine. With the computers, they really have it dialed in as far as being stable. It does not tail happy like it used to. You can't even tell that it's a rear engine car. And as far as being able to tell it's four-wheel drive, that I think is going to be most felt if you're in the twisties or when you take off doing the freeway drag race, you know, at the freeway lights. So we'll see if the lights are on today. It may be because it's early. Love that pop-off valve. Okay, good. We get to test it here. So I'm going to take off really hard from these freeway lights. Alright, so I felt that it wanted the traction control light came on in the dash. It was stretching for grip. The roads are dry, so it's not that it's damp or anything, but it definitely, when I floored it in first gear, it was, you can tell the back end kicked out just a little bit. So, for that instance, yes, I could tell it was rear-wheel drive. Drop down a gear or two, get it above 5,000 RPM. Kick out of the back, but just plenty of grip, plenty of power in this S. It would be interesting to take this car on a track or damp mountain road to see what kind of difference it would make having rear-wheel drive versus the 4S or four-wheel drive. But just driving around town, dry conditions, you're never at a want for more grip. It has plenty of grip. And I'm gonna say those clover leaves I was taking at like 90% of what I felt comfortable driving, and didn't even come close to the limit of the car. So now let's go and drive the 4S, see if we can tell the difference. This is the 4S. Does have sport chrono, so you have the mode switch on the steering wheel. Does not have the sport GT steering wheel still, which is surprising because this is a heavier build than that S, which means a lot more build options. I'm surprised they did not opt for that steering wheel, being that they even got the sport chrono package. Alright, just taking note of the steering because it does not have the power steering plus. I don't notice a difference in the difficulty of steering at this. Oh, maybe a little bit. Yeah, maybe a little bit. When you're having to crank. Yeah, I noticed it. It's the first time I've noticed it because I'm driving the cars back to back, but it definitely is easier to turn. Yeah, now that I pay attention to it, you could definitely feel the lightness in the S with the Power Steering Plus. Now, I wonder though, because it's only a $280 option, if it's just a software issue. Maybe there's nothing hardware related as far as a different steering rack or anything. It's probably just something that they add into the software to make it so that it senses when you're going slow versus fast. But yeah, I notice it. I'd pay a $280 for it. Okay, I'm gonna go in sport mode again for this and manual. So just taking off like that, did not notice anything as far as four-wheel drive. The S only had the standard exhaust, but this has the sport exhaust. On, so let's see what kind of difference it makes with four-wheel drive. You can tell four-wheel drive. It definitely has a sense of pulling the car. So if you think about Porsche, it has like an electronic differential that sends the power to whatever wheel needs it. You can tell that it switches the power to the front because instead of the car having a feeling of pushing from behind, it definitely felt like it was tugging from in front. That's really interesting the way it does that. Insta Audi cars. If you're of a certain age, you remember watching Insta back in the day with the Audi Quattros, and they had that really strong pop-off valve when they got off the gas. Sorry, I have a Honda HR-V in front of me in this clover leaf. Yeah, I'm gonna let him get a little bit ahead. say that if this is your Canyon Carver, if this is your every once in a while track day, club drive type of thing, you're going to appreciate the four-wheel drive. The downside of the four-wheel drive is going to be you don't have the pure, I don't know, it's just something about a 911 knowing that it's rear engine, rear drive. I've heard people that have done the experience center day comparing the two, and they say it's very difficult to get the tail end out when you're trying to drift the car. And the other thing is, if you opt for the four-wheel drive version of any 911, you can't have the option of the long-range fuel tank. So the standard fuel tank is 16 gallons on a 911, which is not that big. If you're driving a car hard, if you're taking it out for a mountain trip and driving it hard, you're going to empty that tank really quick. It's going to get under 200 miles if you drive it hard. So if I were going to build a 911, if I'm going to drive it any kind of like daily trips, or if I'm going to use it mostly for daily driving, I'm going to want that bigger tank, because you're going to feel like you're stopping for gas often if you're driving it daily. So that's the trade-off. Is it worth the extra performance, not having the tail happiness of a 911 and not having the option for the large fuel tank to have the four-wheel drive at a $7,000 premium as well? So it's a toss-up. I think that it would have to boil down to how you drive the car. What's your purpose? Is this just going to be a weekend car or a daily driver? So final thoughts on the comparison between the the S and the 4S is the 4S is definitely feels faster. It isn't. I mean, if you go compare it, maybe it's 1/10 of a second quicker from 0 to 60 with Sport Chrono package. So that it just feels faster, just because of that pulling feeling if you're on the limit. So as I said, both these cars are for sale at Porsche Irvine. Let's go back and talk about the different options these cars has and the price of each. I'm going to start off by saying I am not in sales. I'm not a salesman. I actually manage the subscription fleet. So all the cars that you could subscribe to on a monthly or many monthly basis, and drive any Porsche you want and switch out whatever car you want. Carrera S is a 21. It has 14,000 miles on it. It's listed for $142,000 as of today. The 4S is a 22 with 5,500 miles, and that's listed at $167,000 as of today. The way AutoNation works as pricing is it's a no haggle price structure, but they have a computer system that tracks all similar cars that are selling around the country, dealership, private party, auction, and they'll list the cars that we have just either at or slightly below market, depending on the popularity of the car, so that you don't have to worry about paying too much for the car on that day. So that's the way that they work their prices. If you want to come out here and check out these cars, you can either DM me or you can call the store directly to talk to a salesman. If you like this content, you want to see other cars, not only Porsches, and I also do videos on the cars that get traded in on the Porsches. So if you have subscribed, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And if not, I invite you to do so. Other than that, we will see you in the next video. Thank you again for watching.